So this second session is talking about science and community. Um, and so it will be really exciting to hear from all of our presenters during this hour, how they engage with their communities in different ways. So Colleen Hitchcock is going to start us off.
Hi, everybody. I'm Colleen Hitchcock. I am from Brandeis University. The hat I'm wearing today, though, is as a steering committee member for the City Nature Challenge. So I'm just going to provide an overview of the CNC and how it works and how, in particular, educators can get involved with the CNC and some of our outcomes. You'll see across the bottom, we have a broad spectrum of collaborators who help organize this. Amy's going to deny it, but she was one of the ringleaders for several years as well. So the City Nature Challenge is a 4-day BioBlitz that has been going on in the Boston area since 2017. A BioBlitz is simply a brief intensive survey of biodiversity over a set area during a set period of time. I'm not going to go into all the details in our slides, but I will share our slides at the end. And I did drop into the chat, although I don't think I hit send yet, a link to our webpage. But in particular, why I think the CNC is a good opportunity for educators and for community groups to engage in is I really think about this as a gateway to broader connections with nature and to broader connections with participatory science. So it's a great opportunity to collect students, community members to place and help them figure out how to explore local nature, particularly in urban and metro areas is the focus of our CNC. It fosters opportunities for students to become biodiversity observers, so to kind of move from passive interactions with nature to thinking about cataloging and collecting what we're seeing together. There's opportunity with students to bring in some science concepts like identification and classification, which are always fun to do. And the byproduct of this engagement, because of the platform that we use, which is iNaturalist, is that you're collecting data. So I'm not going to go too much into what the platform is, except to say it is an open science platform where people make observations, they share it with community members, and then you talk in this social media platform about the observation you've made. There is a COPA compliant version of this called Seek for those working with the under 12 set that also provides opportunities and safe places for people to engage in these kinds of observations and engagement with biodiversity. The CNC, the specifics of it are this year it runs from April 26th through April 29th. And those are the days you can go out and observe. We have 170 city or towns that are within our research area, which you can see here. And some of the outcomes that I've seen with my own students is that it increases bioliteracy, it helps them to discover nature, and increases data literacy. And so all of these, I think, are good reasons to engage and join us this spring in the City Nature Challenge.
Thank you, Colleen. And I will not deny being the organizer. Next, we have Kayla Bradley, who's going to share another participatory science project.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Perfect. Oh, wait, hold on. There you go. Okay, can everyone hear me?
You're good.
All right, so my name is Kayla Bradley. I'm an undergraduate student at UMass Boston studying environmental science. And today I'm going to talk to you about Stone Living Lab's participatory science project we've been working on called Coastal Surge Investigations. So my slides are not advancing, one second. Oh, there you go. So coastal storm surge and flooding is a great issue in Boston, largely because of either king tides that are just especially large high tides that cause land flooding, or storm surges from coastal storms. And they're anticipated to get worse with climate change. So we need to measure these floods to be able to prepare for climate change better. And right now that's largely done by models, but we need to compare those models to real data to ensure that they're accurate and up to date. So we wanted to find a way to measure flooding without actually being on site during the flood so that we could have community science volunteers help us. And we decided to do this using cobalt chloride test paper, which you can see right here in the middle. This test paper essentially is blue when you first get it, but once it comes in contact with water, it turns this pinkish white color all the way on the right. And we built two types of equipment that could tell on the top, this equipment is to tell the rise in flood levels, and the bottom, this is to tell whether or not that single point flooded or not. So these pieces of flooding equipment could be secured by volunteers 48 hours before an anticipated flooding event, retrieved within 24 hours after that flooding event. And we can compare the data to models and some whole new sensors that measure the level of water reaching over land. So we did a deployment on October 30th to measure a king tide that was anticipated that day, that was most certainly there. If you see on the right and the top, those pictures are both from Tiananmen Beach. On the left is our volunteers deploying, and on the right is when we went to go pick up that sensor. You can see how it was clearly flooded. And we also have all the data here on the bottom. We worked with 4 community volunteers and 15 undergraduate volunteers and deployed at 4 different sites. And overall, we found, first of all, that this underscored the importance of experiential and local knowledge in these research projects. By having local volunteers come in, you get information that researchers might not know. Interconnected volunteer groups, so the volunteer groups of multiple students who knew each other were most engaged with the project. So that kind of tells about recruiting and how you can try to build larger groups to get people to interact more within the volunteers. There's also a mix between providing volunteers guidance and their own autonomy, in that we wanted to let the volunteers choose where to put sensors and things like that, but they needed guidance as to where were good ideas and things like that. So that was an important balance that we found that you had to strike. And also just highlighting the importance of the volunteers being part of that project. In the future, we want to continue to work through, there's a lot of permitting issues with this project because you want to place things on site. So we're continuing to work through those permitting issues. We also want to involve volunteers more in actually developing the project, make the project more flexible so that they can be able to do it more on their own terms, and also expanding our community team. And one idea that we've had for that is using CoastSnap, which is a community beach monitoring app where you can take photos of coastlines, using that to take photos of flooding. So thank you for listening, and I'd love to talk more about this during the breakout if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Kayla. Next is Nick Lee and Jack Buckley. Sorry, Jack.
All right, Nick, take it away.
All right, so my name is Nick Lee. I'm a environmental science teacher at Codman Academy. I teach 11th and 12th grade. And I'm presenting Jack Buckley, who's the president of Cohasset Center for Student Coastal Research, on incorporating marine debris into our classroom curriculum.
So it's a pleasure to work with Nick and his students at Codman Academy. And very briefly, I'll say this is an opportunity for teachers to get involved in the work that Nick is going to share. Very quickly, the Source the Sanctuary grant opportunity is about using the marine debris tracker, learning about visualization tools, building ocean drifters, exploring eco-friendly drifter designs, and looking at marine debris more as a holistic issue from sources of production all the way to Stellwagen Bank. Go ahead, Nick.
And so this past school year, I've been a part of a teacher cohort that Jack organized around marine debris. And so through this cohort, we've had exposure to experts in the field, been able to work with other colleagues interested in incorporating marine debris and marine science into their classrooms. And Jack has also introduced us to a couple of different tools, particularly sea drifters, which I'm working on a plan to build and implement with my students this spring, and also the marine debris tracker, which I want to spend a little time talking about today. So the marine debris tracker is an app made by National Geographic in partnership with NOAA. and it allows students to log debris around their school or around their community. So in this bottom picture, that's a screenshot from the app where you're able to log different pieces of marine debris that might be on the ground, different pieces of trash that could end up becoming marine debris. And so this app records location data in real time. And then as a teacher, I was able to help students upload this data into ArcGIS and analyze this in comparison with data collected globally. So there's some lesson plan materials in the slides, which I'll make sure to share as well. But I just want to share that for my students, using this marine debris tracker allowed them to apply a lot of the environmental science concepts we'd been learning about runoff, about watersheds to their own community. It also gave them exposure to data analysis and visualization tools, and being able to collect data and then within the same class period, able to visualize it on a map was a really cool experience for a lot of students. It also allowed them to connect Boston Harbor to their local community. Codman Academy is in Dorchester, and a lot of students know that we're near Boston Harbor, but don't really see how Boston Harbor and those environmental issues affect their own community. So that connection was really powerful for students. And I just want to end with a quote from one of my students in his reflections that my group's data was not what we expected. When we actively searched for marine debris, we found it hard not to find plastic of some sort, and to learn that all of it hits our oceans due to runoff was mind-blowing. I think we're at time, so we'll pause here, but looking forward to continuing in the breakouts.
And one quick thing I would like to add is that Nick and I met at the Stone Living Lab conference held at UMass Boston, and we were strangers and said hello to one another and started collaborating. So great things happen here.
Great. Thank you, Nick and Jack. Next up, we have Peter, Sara, and Donald.
One second for me to get the slides up. Here we go. And okay, so we're from Boston University. This is Globe Mission Earth that we represent. And what is GLOBE? GLOBE is an international program for environmental education funded by NASA, NOAA, NSF, and the State Department. It is scientists, educators, environmentalists, and Earth stewards. The focus is on phenomena-driven science education. Our purpose is to integrate GLOBE and NASA assets meaningfully in classrooms with place-based activities and student presentations. GLOBE is a network of worldwide partners, students, teachers, and scientists who work together to increase the understanding of the Earth as a system. There are 127 countries represented. GLOBE students build understanding by making environmental observations and asking questions, and share their data with other students as well as research scientists around the world. In the above, GLOBE's data visualization system shows where students have uploaded water temperature data. The GLOBE database contains more than 20 years of data collected by students at more than 25,000 schools around the world. Why are we not moving to the next slide? Let's go to the next slide. There we go. Scientists are interested in many of the same environmental questions as students. They serve as mentors, collaborate on research projects, and even use GLOBE data in their own work. When research is completed, students can report on outcomes of their investigations at regional GLOBE science research symposiums, as well as GLOBE's annual International Virtual Science Symposium. There are 4 spheres of GLOBE protocols for student investigations. Examples are from atmosphere, aerosols, air temperature, clouds; from biosphere, land cover, canopy cover, ground cover; from hydrosphere, there's water temperature, water transparency; from pedosphere or geosphere, we are interested in frost tube measurements, soil temperature, moisture characterization of the soil. There we go. And I've got all these things from Zoom that get in the way of what I'm trying to see. The Globe Observer app is for citizen science and classroom use. With the Globe app, you can report directly to Globe and NASA, cloud observations, tree heights, land cover, mosquito spread and habitats, as well as air temperature and surface temperature and soil temperature. And, let me go back. If I can go back, there we go. So how we work, well, we can provide NASA and Globe materials as well as support how to use them. We can, we have Globe protocols and extension activities for all 4 spheres. We also have elementary Globe, the Globe Observer app, and My NASA data. And here's an example of bottle biology in the middle, but phenological and pollinator gardens on either side that we've planted. And here we are, we visited a school to do soil horizon characterizations. So if you're interested in Globe or how we might be able to support some of your activities or collaborate with some of your activities, then please, let's make contact either in the breakout rooms or directly through email or some other method. Thank you.
Next, we have Sara Muñoz.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sara Muñoz, and my coworker here is Eleanor for the day. So I am really delighted to be with you all. Pull up my slides. So I'm going to speak with you about one of the favorite partnerships that we have at the Marine Science Center. That, you know, this is a really long-standing partnership that we have that serves to connect the research that we do at the center with students and communities around us. I've already put some links in the chat to just a variety of things, my programming in general, the online educator resources we have, and then the community partners that I'm highlighting today and really want to lift up as having been essential to the work we've been doing at Girls Inc. of Lynn. As many of us are, we're in this space between, you know, science and education and community and communication. And our work takes a lot of different forms, but one of the most rewarding and sustainable forms has been integrating our resources and our scientists' work into existing community programs. And I think a lot of us in this informal STEM space feel that constant pull between maximizing our reach, right? So that we can report out and have big numbers for grant impacts and metrics, while at the same time developing program sustainability and also programming that our community partners actually want and get value added from. And so the case in point I'm sharing with you today is our partnership called Beach Sisters with Girls Inc. of Lynn. There are Girls Inc. Nonprofit community centers all across the country, many in New England. Our research lab is in Nahant, and our nearest neighbor is the Environmental Justice Community of Lynn. And so we have worked with them in a variety of ways for over 10 years now. The model is that teens at this after-school program work with a staff coordinator that I help manage, and they prepare and deliver marine science lessons for younger students. And that also includes field trips to our site, presentations in our labs, and then also paid summer internships for some of the students. We have had a pretty significant program impact. We've been able to incorporate into a lot of our own grants, created internship and mentoring, and also trained a lot of educators along the way. We think that it works because it's incorporating into an existing community program that has student recruitment and wraparound services already, and it's shared management model, but we have the same challenges that a lot of you face with staffing, sustainability, and creating intentional research connections versus just that checking a box. And, just trying to maintain the flexibility for what the program does. So I put a lot of links in the chat. I can talk more about it at time. But my email address is here, and I would just really encourage you to reach out to community organizations like Girls Inc. There are a lot of opportunities to engage with what they need.
Thank you, Sierra. We have Joe Rowell next.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Thank you for having me. I am the program, I am here representing PowerCorps Boston, which is a workforce development program that focuses on connecting community, climate change initiatives to employment. PowerCorps is dedicated to providing education and training aligned with Boston's Green New Deal. We're a partner with Mary Wu's Green New Deal, and we're interested in making sure that we have an opportunity here to share our program, share opportunities to collaborate our program, and also just inform a little bit about our program. We started off initially with a 6-month program. We had successfully completed 3 cohorts and realized that maybe we needed to tweak the program a little bit to have a little bit more engagement. So now our program is formatted in somewhat of a 10-month program where we have 4 months of really foundations where we're giving all the students that come into our program as a cohort all the tools that they need, soft skills, hard skills, that'll get them interested in one of the 3 tracks that we have set up. Upon completion of the 4 months, they may apply to a 6-month portion of the program, which is an enhancement. And out of those 6 months, they have an opportunity to kind of invest in 3 different tracks. One is called urban greening, which is pretty much taking care of the urban canopy in Boston. The other one is urban forestry, which is a little bit more intense, but pretty much focuses on taking care of urban greenery, but also using tools that are a higher level training that is involved. And the third track is building operations, which focuses on addressing climate change and through the building operations deal. We are a program that's based in Boston, 18 to 30-year-old applicant party that we're looking for. We are collaborating chiefs. So if there's any organization that's out there that's interested in collaborating with us, please consider us. We are interested in making sure that if there's any opportunity to connect some of our young people with opportunities outside of the green industry, we do that as well. Although we're focused on connecting young people with opportunities and careers in the green industry, we are not bound to that. We understand that part of the exposure may have them think of different ways of engaging, and we want to support that as well. So without any ado, I'm looking forward to talking to folks in the breakout room. I have a lot more details about the program, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions that may come about as a result. And thank you again, Boston Harbor Environmental Education team and UMass Boston for having us.
Thank you, Joe. The final speaker of the session is Melissa Roberts.
All right. Hello. Thank you for having me today. My name is Melissa Roberts. I'm an educator, an outdoor educator here in the Boston metro area, and I'm going to be talking about STEM, STEAM, and story to introduce environmental curriculum. I'll start off by introducing myself. I work at Puddle Stompers Nature Exploration. We teach STEM to ages 2 through 8 in the Boston metro area for the past 25 years. We partner with DCR, Conservation Commissions, Park and Rec Departments, Natural Resources Commissions to connect families to green open spaces and conservation land. All of our curriculum meets the Massachusetts STEM standards for preschool through 3rd grade. And we focus on conservation and stewardship, and we also hope to build a foundation of wonder, respect, and having children access their own agency with relationship to like climate change and being good stewards of the land. We use, the other hat that I wear is I am a writer for environmental science picture books. And I think they're really important in introducing to curriculum because it introduces children to planning for climate change. And it gives them the opportunity to see that several disciplines will be required to work on these big climate change problems. And it will help teach them about how to make their communities both resilient and sustainable. Environmental picture books can engage them to access their own agency in planning their future. It also introduces the concepts of conservation and stewardship to build community. Environmental science picture books can be used as a jumping off point for introducing curriculum. So that is one of our thrusts. And I recently just consulted on a book that is going to be published this March. It's called The Noisy Puddle, and I worked in concert with Linda Booth Sweeney, who is a New England author. And we will be partnering with the Massachusetts Audubon in their community-based programs to introduce the importance of vernal pools, especially coming up as spring migration starts in the next 2 weeks. And they will be using this book to develop curriculum to bring families out into the vernal pools to explore them, and also to instill the concepts of conservation and stewardship in our youngest naturalists. And as a writer, I am also in the process of getting this book out here. This is a book about a child's guide to planning for climate change. And this environmental picture book for ages 4 through 8 can be used as a starting point to introduce curriculum that teaches children about nature-based solutions and working with planners and scientists to ensure sustainability and resilience of their communities. And I look forward to talking more about environmental curriculum and picture books in the breakout rooms.
Thanks, Melissa. And thank you to all of our speakers.